You are so sweet for joining the Daily Whatever on a regular basis. It's awesome to know that you're in the audience, flipping us shit, which we need.
I know, Robin. So, Robin, we've known each other for it feels like lifetimes, but it's been maybe a year or so. But
Yep.
I have never put a face. I mean, I've seen your funny picture in your profile, but like, so good to see you. I'm so sorry for the technical meltdown. It was just like a black screen of death. I rebooted and it was like, your internet's not connected. I'm like, dude, I'm typing on my computer. My internet is working. But anyways, bygones. We're all here now.
We're here, and
Good
it's Saturday.
morning. I'm so happy it's 9 a.m. and not 7 a.m., you guys.
Yeah,
Robin, I
you had Ben on.
appreciate Sorry, go
You had
on.
you had Ben on yesterday, and he's like, "This is early for me," even though he's in the same time zone as I am. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I get it," even though it's 7 a.m. for Dana.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm pretty sure that's why I got sick this week, and you can hear my voice is still like, honey, I've seen a thing or two out there. Let me tell you. But I'm pretty sure getting the cold is because I'm changing my circadian rhythms. I'll have you know, Lawrence, I woke up at 6:20 today
Oh, hey,
on
look at
my own.
that.
I went back to sleep,
Hi.
but my body is responding to this sleep training that I'm doing. Yeah, I am not a farmer. Not a farmer. Chris is here. Hi, Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin's here. Karen's here. Of course.
I know. I'm very excited to see you too, Karen. I've just never seen Chris on a live before. Chris was one of my very, very first friends and mentors when I joined Medium. He got on a call with me when I was like, explain how do you medium when I didn't know anything. He was very patient with me, and Age of Empathy was one of the very first to boost a story, the one about my gender nonconforming kid. So therefore the origin story of pink hair and pronouns.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, Chris is like the community guy, right? Like everybody loves Chris. Hi, Chris. I hope I'm not embarrassing you.
I did a YouTube interview with Chris a while back, and God, he was so funny. So funny. The hour just flew by.
And yes, Karen has not missed a single episode of the Daily Whatever. We need to get you a little
we are
trophy.
grateful to Karen. That is amazing.
I
And
know.
Robin, Karen is your writing partner.
Yeah, she's my writing, editing partner / internet bestie. We talk
Discord buddy.
Discord buddy. Yeah.
I am not on Discord, and I feel like I'm missing that because I keep in touch through Slack, but I don't also have
Because you're
Discord.
Gen X.
Because I'm Gen X.
Oh, the SmackDown is going to start already.
It is. It is, apparently. My kids use Discord. No, they do. But also I haven't been invited to a Discord, so I haven't had need to it's not my generation. It's because my friends are all old. No, I don't know why. Just
I'm on Discord. I don't know why you're not on Discord.
I've never been invited to a
Lawrence is
Discord
cool.
yet.
He's on Discord.
Yes.
I'll admit though, I'm on Discord because that's where the AI image generator Midjourney kind of forced me to be at the beginning. So
Yes, Ellen's
Midjourney is one
obsessed
of
with
the
Midjourney too.
original AI image generators, and the way that you generated images was you asked it shit in Discord, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm joining another social network.
Right.
Well, I started a Medium group on Discord, and now I'm running a writers group on Discord, and then I'm also the admin of the Slack for the nommers on Medium. So I'm now running these things, and I'm actually not very technologically savvy. So people are like, "Can you do this?" I'm like, "We'll find out."
Right. Maybe I can. I don't know.
Robin, invite me to your writers group, and then I'll get Discord. I mean,
Oh,
unless
you're
you
in.
don't want any Gen X, oldsters in there, whatever. I won't go feral on you or anything. If you
Oh
say
no,
no.
it's actually funny. My writers group is really mixed between Gen Z to baby boomers. Like,
Okay.
It's real good mix.
Good. All right. That sounds like a lot of fun. The Medium Slack group, the Nommers Slack group has like quieted down so much. It's we're gonna actually be holding that in it's an in memoriam for Medium, but it's more the celebration of life for the medium that we lost. Not that Medium has gone away. That's gonna be on Monday. We're about to post our schedule for next week, and this is going to be an unusual one where Lawrence is going to step down from co-host, and Walter Ryan and Patrick Stewart are going to join. So we have 3 Medium nominators and writers
Yeah,
leading the
I am not a
conversation.
mediumnista or whatever y'all are called. So
Mediumista, I like that.
And Lawrence, are you bitter at all about being booted from the day?
no.
He volunteered.
I volunteered. I knew it was the right thing to do. If it's a conversation about Medium, I'm just going to sit there and be like, uh-huh. Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Yes, your hair looks pretty.
It'll be a whole
Thank you.
lot
I
of
brushed
work.
it. Oh,
Yeah, no, both of you. Your hair looks very pretty. Mine is hidden under a hat because, yeah, whatever.
You
I
do
also
have
put my
super
mustache.
long,
Oh
pretty.
my God. Tell me, is that a tattoo or is that
It's pen. I just drew it on.
okay? Nice. I love it. I once knew a woman who had that as a tattoo, and
I want to get it as a tattoo.
yeah, I just think that's absolutely brilliant.
If we're having the generational battle, can I say, because my kids would say it like this, that's so millennial. Because it is. That's a very millennial woman tattoo.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh,
Yes.
well, there you go. Look at me.
Right? I think so. I just I think Instagram the other night served me up a reel that was like a music reel that I was like, this has to be a thing, and I Googled it and I found other people doing it, and I asked my kids about it last night and they were like, that's a millennial thing, Mom. But so since it is, I'll ask you because it made me laugh really hard and I want to record like 20 of them. It's the audio clip from Death Becomes Her. That was rude. That was really fucking rude. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I just said about like a Canadian. I don't know why, but I think it's me trying to make you feel warm and welcome. And because I wish to be Canadian. Um, that audio clip is so funny. And I was like, every day I have things happen that's all I want to say is like, that was really fucking rude in that tone of voice. So, yeah, they told me that it's not age appropriate for me. It's millennial, and I was like, whatever. Whatever. I'm the whatever generation. I don't have to care about what you think because apparently I'm feral.
Oh, you guys are absolutely feral. I I like to think of, and I didn't think of this for the article, but I thought of it after. But I like to think of Gen X as like the John Wick generation. You're just calmly out there living your lives, but like poke you when you're about to like go full murderous rampage.
Robin, tell us about the article. I mean, since that is ostensibly the topic of today, what inspired you to write it, and do you
Lawrence,
really
should we put a
believe?
link in the chat? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'll drop a link in the chat.
Okay.
And if you wanted to read the article, Robin, that would be cool, or we could just jump in and talk about it. But I'm dying to know kind of what made you think I've got to put this out there and write this.
I'm not a big fan of reading my own stuff. If either you guys want to read a bit of it, sure.
Lawrence has an amazing reading voice.
Yes, he does. Yeah. I just saw a TikTok about some Gen X thing, and it just made me laugh. And then I thought about, so I'm dating this guy, Mike. I've written about him in my Substack. I think he's here. Well, I think I saw him plug in.
The dog walker?
Dog park guy. Yeah.
The dog park guy. Yeah. Sorry. You met him walking your dog?
Yeah. Yeah. I met him at the dog park and we talked for a while. And then eventually we started dating. So he's Gen X, or he's, I think, about 5 years older than me. But the Gen X, the difference between Gen X and even elder millennial, and there is a lot of bleed between the two of them, the difference can be pretty stark. And he's prematurely getting into his get off my lawn era.
Nice.
And something, there can be something very refreshing about friends or significant others who are in that era. And annoying, I imagine, at times, but
no, I think I've always really gotten along with Gen X. I think because I am on the cusp. So I'm a millennial, but I was born in 1983. So technically that makes me an elder millennial or zennial, like with an X.
Yeah.
But
I love the term elder millennial because it sounds like you're 1,000 years old. Because of the
I was born in the 1900s.
exactly. I've
Gather
seen
round
things.
the fat children. I'll tell you the tale of the landline.
Right. I've seen some things, honey. Lawrence, will you do the honors of reading a passage of this story?
Oh,
Do
okay. Yes, I will.
I would,
Sure.
but I sound, like, a very haggard Stevie Nicks over here today,
Yeah.
and you have a better voice anyways.
All right, Robin, I'm gonna jump in sort of midway, so forgive me. It's right after the image of the scary looking bearded dude.
Perfect.
There's an epic battle of the generations that has been raging for years. Its worthy adversaries are the baby boomers, the millennials, and Gen Z, and we've been locked in the digital and real world battles of wit and mockery. Gen Z flippantly calls the elders boomers, generally accompanied with an eye roll. Boomers say Gen Z can't afford houses because of their affinity for avocado toast, ignoring the fact that a bag of avocados costs 12 times what it used to. Millennials are the butt end of jokes, while trying to interpret between the boomers and the zoomers. If you're wondering, where's Gen X? In the intergenerational shit war, Gen X generally stays out of it. But who exactly let Gen X off the hook? We all did. They terrify us. I was born in 1983, so I'm a millennial. Well, technically, an elder. Another name for us, elder millennials, is Zennials. But we don't let the X fool you. We're not Gen X. They scare the bejesus out of us. Gen Xers were born between 1965 and 1980, making them currently between 45 and 60 years old. They're called the X generation because they're so intimidating, they didn't even get a real name. We millennials have seen some shit and we talk about it. But Gen, what the fuck? There's going to be a few of these playful name iterations of Gen X. They've seen even more shit, but they don't talk about it. They just stare into your soul until you get the point. Gen, oh my God, fought the boomers, raised the millennials, and are the ones putting roofs over Gen Z's heads. They're the original fuck around and find out generation. And personally, I neither want to fuck around with them nor find out with them. I don't need the Gen X wrath in my life. They chose to hibernate for the generational war, and I'm not going to poke that bear with a proverbial stick. All right.
Okay,
That's
fair.
pretty clear.
I have thoughts, but I want to let Robin weigh in first because I tend to talk a lot. Um,
Yes, no,
actually,
that's where you stop. You just let her go.
well, I feel like we didn't ask a question or anything. We just read her stuff, so I'm like, shoot. Um, you said your boyfriend inspired the story in part.
Yeah, in part, like some of the things were sort of that, and then some of it I researched it. By the way, Lawrence, thank you for reading that because you did so much better than I could have ever done. Also, I find my writing quite hard to read because there's a lot smushed together, and I get super tongue tied. Um, but yeah, so it started off. It started off. I just watched a TikTok, and it was some Gen Xer saying some Gen Xy thing, and it just made me laugh. And I thought that sounds like Mike. And then I started thinking of a few other things, and then I started adding things from a few other Gen Xers I know, and then came the research stage, and I started looking things up. Yeah, that's how that whole thing came about. But I'm really proud of that piece. I really like it because I think it has one of my highest jokes per minute ever in it. Wait, JPM.
Yes.
Um,
The use of changing the X to I don't give a fuck and goat and fuck around and find out, like, I was weeping. I was laughing so hard as I was reading it the first time through. Um, I think Jen, I don't give a fuck was my favorite. Perhaps because that is a very millennial acronym. Here's I had a few thoughts as I was going through this of questions, and then we have sort of an idea or a game to play after of are we feral? We want to share some stories from our childhoods and compare them to yours and be like, feral or not feral. Dig into some real life experiences of real life Gen Xers. Um, One thought that as I was reading this, that I was like, you compare, hold on, let me find it here. It was the idea that Gen Z and boomers are fighting and millennials are in the middle. And my perception has always been that the boomers and the millennials are fighting, and we're like the ignored Jan Brady in the middle, like on memes and on social media. And the Gen Z is just sort of getting into the action now as they're coming of age. I don't know if that's a question or more of a statement of like interesting that we both put our generations in the middle of the generational wars. Um, I feel like the poor millennials, not that you're poor, but I feel like that you are fighting with the boomers first because they were like, you kids don't understand. And you were like, do you have any idea how much college costs now, you assholes? And now the Gen Zs are picking on you, even though Gen X likes to say, Lawrence and I like to say that like we pioneered things, the internet, things we don't get credit for. But it's the Gen Zers are picking on the millennials for those early habits and being like, "We're so much cooler than you," not even taking into account that they can fly on Snapchat because you ran on Instagram first. Like, you are the first truly digital generation. Um, do you think that's a fair assessment to say that millennials are fighting in both directions in a way that none of the other generations are? I guess that's the question.
Yeah, I think in a way, yes, but in another way, like, we just end up the butt of a lot of jokes, especially
Yeah.
for Gen Z, and at and maybe even Gen Alpha, they're like, "Ugh, millennial." Um,
Absolutely, and I'm like, wait until you get old enough to see the things you think are cool and are probably ridiculous seem ridiculous because it happens with every generation. Everyone loves youth, right? Like, you wanna make fun of a side part or skinny cut jeans or socks that fit under sneakers? Have at it. You're gonna grow to realize that, your big baggy pants look silly
yeah,
because
it's a little ironic
it's
that they're doing it in mom jeans, though.
exactly. Exactly. I'm like, "Really, those kids?" So, I am, um I became a parent late. Lawrence and I have so actually, I'm gonna step back and talk a little bit about Gen X's ethos because Gen Xe isn't all of Gen X, right? Lawrence, you can weigh in here too, of, as we were forming this publication and podcast, Lawrence and I were like, "Gen X kind of sucks." A lot of Gen X really sucks.
We do.
We realize this. We are the ones who put Trump in the White House by overwhelming majorities. Like 55%, I think, of Gen X voted for him, fucking monster. And um, being Gen Xy is a certain flavor of Gen X that's like the minority of the minority generation. We tend to be the ones who left our hometowns, moved to cities, and pioneered things that weren't around or available to humanity much before then, like women going to college and getting advanced degrees, marrying later, having kids later, if marrying or having kids at all, having like many sex partners as a younger person versus marrying your first boyfriend out of college, which is what our parents did. Um, and so, and a Gen X ethos is unapologetically liberal and anti-Nazi. It's not supporting Trump, and is we are late bloomers. And so we had our kids late if we had them, and now as we're in our 45 to 60 range, we're coming into our creative power. Is the theory. Um, and so when we talk about Gen X and generalizing for all of Gen X, we want to be clear that we can't speak for all of Gen X because there's an awful lot of them at home who are like, we had the best music. You kids and your mental health, that doesn't exist. Like sort of some of the things you poke fun of here. A lot of Gen X never let go of that identity, right? They're still like, drink from the hose, kid. We're cool because we know how to use.
Okay, I did
Well,
actually drink from the hose, just
oh,
FYI.
by all means, we did. Oh,
Jumped
you
off
did
the
too.
roof of my house, saw my first porn magazines in the tree fort down at the end of the road. Like fully
Oh my
feral Gen
God.
X.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna get into all of those, like how feral were our compared childhoods. Um, but where was I going with all of this? The idea that Gen Xy people, we all of Gen X have these. We were raised under a similar ethos, right? some people never dealt with their trauma that you talk about here, like, it made them and some of us, um, continue to evolve, so we still have some of the better, we'd like to think, elements of being raised, the kinda last independent generation where your parents didn't know where you were and you were feral in the streets till all hours. But, like, we went to therapy, we evolved, and we can see that, there were a lot of flaws to the way we were raised, and, became, more than just our upbringings, I guess, is our point. So we're not speaking on behalf of all of Gen X, but given that we're the only 2 Gen X folks on this call, my therapy needs therapy. Yeah. My medication's wearing off, or it's just not strong enough to cover this. Stephen Barrett, Magnetic Fields quote. Um, a Gen Xer who wrote a very millennial, era
Dana, ask
album.
a question.
Sorry, I'm babbling. Lawrence, let's talk about let's play a game. Let's play a game called Are We Feral? And I think what we're gonna do here is Lawrence nodded to drinking from the hose and things like that. We are going to share some of our real life experiences being raised Gen X. And Robin, we wanna know if you've had similar experiences or if you're like, "Oh my god, that's feral and horrifying," as a millennial.
Well, okay, wait. So I said I raised hands to drinking out of the hose, but Robin did too.
Yeah.
Robin, tell us. You ran around outside barefoot drinking from hoses also? Yes?
Yeah, so, I'm a Zennial, so I am on the older range, closer so I'm pretty close to a young Gen X. So, I still had the drinking water out of the hose phase and not coming home until it gets dark. Like, your parents are like, "I don't wanna see you, get out of the house." But then we also had, like, Nintendo come out in our generation, so that was some more time, a little bit more time in the house than I think you guys got, who were raised like feral barn cat.
We had Atari.
Right.
Our our Nintendo was Atari, right? Pitfall?
Yeah, no,
Kaboom?
we had an Atari. We had an Odyssey before we had an Atari, but
Oh.
it was sort of equal measures of um hang out and play the video games with friends until my mom like would literally chase us out of the house with a broom and be like, "Get outside into the sunshine."
I can hear Jane saying that.
Mhm.
Um, okay, here's an example. I will say that it's like a Gen X memory. Do you have a parallel of, I had a very naughty best friend growing up who ditched me by 8th grade. I think that's a universal, um, kids becoming cooler and ditching you. But when we were neighbors and, she found her mom's copy of Nancy Friday's Men in Love, which is, is she a therapist, Lawrence? I think she was a therapist in the '70s who worked on
I think this
sexuality.
was a girl thing that I didn't experience. I
You've
don't
never
know
heard of
anything
Nancy
about
Friday?
Nancy Friday.
Oh, okay. I think, she is a sex researcher and therapist, and she interviewed all these men about their sexual fantasies and then published them as a book called Men in Love because the '70s, everything had to be a euphemism. And we stole it and read it cover to cover, and we would bring it to sleepovers, and all of the girls would take turns reading these pornographic stories to one another, and the parents had no idea. They still have no idea. Mom, if you ever listen back, um, I at one time knew Nancy Friday's Men in Love cover to cover. I'd like to think kids are still doing this and probably way worse because they have the internet at their palms, but this was in, like, 3rd, 4th grade, so we were pretty young. Um, Parallels? Was that feral? Pornographic sleepovers. Yeah, I mean, we weren't doing pornographic things, but we were talking about pornographic things. Or if you don't have parallels, like, is that feral, high feral, mid feral, not feral, just normal?
I think that's just normal of the time
Yeah,
generation. Like, now the younger generation can learn about all that anything they want by Googling it or poking a AI with a stick, but we didn't have that, so we
right.
had to talk about it.
Yes, I guess the Gen X part of it is that it was a book, and then it
Yeah.
was called Men in Love, not Pornhub.
Yeah, well, my first experience with porn was my dad's magazines in the bathroom until my mom eventually said, "You gotta stop keeping those in there because
Oh my god,
all of our daughter's guy friends spend a little too much time in the bathroom."
yes, say Playboys.
Yeah, or Playboy, like, there were a couple of them.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny because my dad used to you just reminded me of another memory of he would just get Playboy shipped to the house, a subscription every month, and my brother and I would look at it, and I would always read the fold-out about the centerfold with the inner handwriting and see what she was into. Hustler was a lot grosser than Playboy, right? Like,
Right.
You actually read the
I didn't read the article, I read the fold-out about the centerfold and would look at her and be like, "Wow, I don't look like that." Um, and that was normal to have Playboy just sent to the house and the children looking through it. That's weird. I wouldn't do that now.
No.
Yeah. I should ask my mom about that. "Hey, why did you let that happen?" Lawrence, do you have a Gen X memory to share? Am I putting you on the spot too much?
I
What's your earliest porny memory, Lawrence?
Okay, so the neighbors across the street
Oh.
were fairly open that they had both Playboy and Playgirl shipped to their house, and they
Oh.
kept it arrayed on shelves in their office as if it was, library checkout material that they would need to reference in the future. And
What?
we would, when they were out of town, we would, watch the dog. And so I would sneak over and early clues that I was gay, I would look at the Playgirl because I wanted to see penises.
Oh my. What first of all, how old were you, Lawrence?
This was like 11 or 12, maybe.
Okay.
And yeah, I remember that the dude that played Flash in the Flash Gordon movie was in Playgirl magazine,
Sam Jones, I think? The
Sam
blonde guy.
Jones, and it was my first,
I
like
love that
carpet
movie.
doesn't match the drapes sort of realization.
Sorry, that is I can't believe I'm only just I feel like every day on this podcast when I'm like 45 years and I've never heard about this story.
Yeah. Robin,
Oh.
what was yours? What was your millennial porn realization in youth?
I think it was I think it was probably the fact that the girls looked at the porn magazine left in the bathroom together, kinda like Dana said, like sharing stories.
Oh, yeah.
The boys would all go into the bathroom individually.
Why do you think they did that?
I don't know. It's more awkward to yank your doodle in front of other people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Your doodle, Robin, I love your see, it just comes right out. This is when we start talking about writing, I want to ask, like, do you have a muse? Where do these amazingly funny turns of phrases come from? Yank your doodle. Here's a question for you though that I think is important about your state of mind at the time. Did you know at the time why the boys went in by themselves? Or did it dawn on you one day as an adult out of nowhere like, "Oh my god, I was so naive." Or were you like, "Oh yeah, we're
I
clued in."
realized it after a little while. Like, the first few times they did it, I didn't think anything of it. I thought maybe they're just taking an epic shit. But after a while, I'd noticed certain trends,
Mhm.
like and then one time, one of them, because teenage boys are dumb as shit, um,
Sure.
they just left the magazine open on the counter.
Ugh.
I knew that it hadn't been in there open on the counter before they went in. I'm like, "Smooth, guys, smooth."
Ew. Ew. I hope it wasn't sticky, at least. I hope even if he didn't clean up the magazine, he cleaned up after himself. And I ask this because this is a topic that kind of fascinates me because, like, conservatives will be like, "We have to protect the children. They can't read about things, they can't hear about things, or it's gonna corrupt them."
They go all
And
hell Lovejoy. "Won't
right,
somebody think of the children?"
Right.
right. And my theory is, like, you can be exposed to things and be pretty naive because this might be my most Gen X memory as I was thinking about this podcast. The same friend who stole her mom's copy of Nancy Friday, Men in Love, um, was sexually adventurous from a very young age, and I was a very late bloomer. This is probably part of the reason why she ditched me. But we would, her parents both worked, and my mom didn't work till I was like 15, so she was home. So we would always hang out at her house alone, the Gen X thing, right? But we weren't feral in the streets. We would sit and watch MTV, like 10-hour shifts. Like from that era, I am encyclopedic. In one note or one visual image, I know exactly what the video is. But she had her boyfriend over, 8th grade, and I remember they disappeared into the bathroom for a while as I was just sitting there watching MTV, and she came out and very pointedly was pulling hair out of her teeth. And young Dana had no idea. I was just sort of like, "Huh?" No idea what happened, and it was, like, years later that related to nothing at all, just, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. It just popped in my head, and I was like, "Oh, I know what was happening in that bathroom that day." Like, even though she was my best friend, I was still naive. But that might be one of my like, that is a very Gen X memory of, like, I don't think that would happen these days because you wouldn't be left home alone, and, uh, I mean, I guess sometimes kids are home alone, but we were, like, 12 or 13, like, we were pretty young, and, yeah, I was in the mixed room while my best friend gave her boyfriend head on the toilet seat, and I had no idea what was going on, and I was just watching, I don't know, Duran Duran and Journey videos on MTV, so I think that's
I just want to point out
she was
we
a
are
little
having
fair.
like a European kind of
I know.
get together on the chat over here. Just it's
I
kind of amazing to see the connections that are being made as we talk about our earliest sex stories.
Right?
Fun.
Are people, like, making plans to get together? I've seen, like, my grandparents were from that part of Ireland, and, like, I think I'm getting distracted because 'cause I'm trying to read and also pay attention, but I love that everybody's making friends.
That's amazing.
If there's
So,
gonna be a
Robin,
European.
let's talk about writing. Like, I want to know about your humor muse. Do you have a muse? Like, do the ideas come to you just all at once? What is it like for you to kind of write comedy on a regular basis?
Uh, my brain is just a hot mess, and sometimes an idea will come out and I'll just start writing it, and I'm in flow, and that's awesome, although that's rare. Generally, I'll have one idea and I'll start, like, with a few jot notes of kind of what I want in it, and then that'll fester, marinate for a while, and I'll add stuff to it for days, sometimes weeks. Um, and then generally I have to go back to a piece a couple of times because I'd say about 50% of the funny is added in later.
Oh,
Ah,
nice.
It
Like part
doesn't
of your
just
editing process.
say. So, yeah, it's a very chaotic process, and I don't know if that's a millennial thing or undiagnosed undiagnosed ADHD or something, but yeah.
I, so maybe I don't know. Maybe this is true of comedy writing too. But I find with my science fiction, like I'm a pantser all the way. Like ideas come to me, I write them down. Sometimes they fit together. I go back and edit. Like I think that's a as a writer, are you a pantser? Do you fly by the seat of your pants, or are you a planner?
Absolutely. No, I'm a pantser.
Yeah,
answer.
Yeah.
I
I
had an editor once ask me to, provide an outline for a story that I had pitched, and I was like, "I don't write like that. I'm gonna give you vibes and ideas of what the story will be about, and then I have to figure out what it's gonna be about as I write it and edit it." I'm in awe of writers who are like, "I want to write a story about Gen X being feral. The first paragraph will be about this, then, the next paragraph will be about this, and finally, in conclusion."
Yeah, some numbnuts sold that as an Instagram story ideal of what a writer is, and they're writing it
boo.
at some immaculate desk that looks like it's a MacBook store background, and they're they've got a quill, and they're just penning the most brilliant words in
Quill.
that is just some absolute bullshit.
Right?
I don't know any writers who write that way. There might be one out there. He sounds like a dick. I wouldn't wanna be
Yes.
friends with him.
Right.
I think,
Who is
like,
that guy? Because he's an asshole, and I don't want to hang out with.
He can
it
go step on a Lego. Most of us are chaotic.
yes, I love he can go step on a Lego because, yeah, ow. Um, I'm underlining everything you're saying here. I think, like, I have school-age kids, and so they're being taught how to write, like, five-paragraph essay format, expository writing, and I'm like, "Yeah, for that, you're writing a book report, basically, like, make an outline, fill in your proof points, you're basically written." But if you're writing, like, soulful, meaningful stuff, um, I don't know. I would l there probably are authors who I do think there needs to be a discipline to writing of like sitting down and actually doing it, even when you're not in the mood sometimes, and seeing what comes. But to say every story is going to start with an outline, like that's just sucking the fun out of it, isn't it? And
So I actually do embarrassingly use that like fifth grade 5-point essay outline basically for my articles. It's more like a jot note, but
yeah,
I'll even do like subject headings and then put all the points under that topic in that category. And then
aw,
jigsaw pieces together from there. But I do have that basic bitch outline to start with. I really do.
there's nothing wrong with basic pitch stuff. I think eh, that's good that you have a process that works, but the madness has to come in, right, to fill in all of the blanks and make it funny. And I'm being distracted because I'm seeing Lego up the ass here somewhere, right? Wait, hold on, I've got to scroll back. Lego
People
up their
ran with the
bum.
step on a Lego, and we're thinking of all the other places a Lego could go, which
The
have been
chat has gone feral.
right. The chat has gone feral, which is appropriate considering the topic of conversation.
Right, Gen X, not the only feral generation. Maybe it's just that writers tend to be a bit feral, because we have to be. Have you always been a humor writer?
No, no, I've been writing for almost 2 decades now. I only took up humor writing when I started on Medium. So that was what, 3 years ago? That's the
Okay.
first time I wrote humor. I've written bits and pieces of humor here and there. Like I've written stuff for like CEOs. This was before they had AI to poke with a stick.
Yeah,
I might write like a speech or something, and I'd offer a couple of little jokes that they include. And I think those jokes got me more referrals than the actual other part of the writing.
right. You're funny. I mean, I there are a lot of people who think they're funny, especially men on dating profiles who are like, "I am smart, kind, and funny," which
Oh,
very
sweetie,
much
no, you're
proves
not.
you're not funny. There aren't that many writers that, like, legit make me laugh when I read them, and you are consistently one of them, so congratulations.
Yeah,
Um
I don't put funny on my dating profile because as much as men say they like funny women, a lot of them really don't. And
Right.
if you ask female stand-up comics, for example, they're like, "Oh my god, men do not like funny women."
Yeah, they
Because
don't.
they don't
I
want
don't
women to be funnier than them. They want men often want to be the funny one in the relationship.
I'm curious what you think about this. I kind of think funny is one of those descriptors that you can't use about yourself, right?
no.
Like if you say I'm funny, you're probably not. If
Mm-mm.
other people say you're funny, you definitely are.
Yes. 1,000%, because there's
Yeah.
nothing funny. I'm gonna get more water for my tea because I'm always obsessed with tea, but when my voice sounds like this, I'm especially obsessed, so walk with me. Um, yeah, you
See,
can't
Lauren,
say you're funny or clever or smart because a funny, clever, or smart person, will show not tell, right? Like, will just
yeah, although I would disagree with you, Lawrence, because I do say that I'm funny.
Okay.
but
Yeah.
in a dating
Here's the
profile
thing. I
to
think
people
you
that are like,
can
No,
say that you're
not
funny because you legitimately are, I I feel like maybe if you've heard it from enough people, it's legit to then be able to say like, yeah, I do know I'm funny because I've been told that I am enough. Like I recognize that it's true.
yeah.
y'all, I have to show you this very cute scene here. It's a little dark, but can you see my cat and my dog on opposite sides of the Afghan here,
Aw.
just having a little nap? So I love them. They make my life hard, but I love them. Okay,
Robin,
I
I
changed
want to
my
know about Canadian politics, right? So Mark Carney is our new hero, and went and kind of thumbed his nose at Trump. What's your take? I want to hear straight from the Canadian.
Uh, take about and like one thing in particular, or just Mark Carney in general.
Whatever you want. Yeah, like Mark Carney in general.
I love him. Um, I would have voted for him whether he ran for the Liberal Party or the Conservative Party. I've been following him for a long time. Um, back before he went over to run the Bank of England and all of that. I think he's absolutely fantastic, and he's funny too, which I like.
He
But
is.
he's able to do it in a really coy kind of way that's very classy. So I like that about him. But of course, he's just like, as we would say in Boston, like wicked smart, or however you use a Boston accent.
That was good.
He's
I was
That was
born in
good.
Boston. That was a good Boston accent.
close enough.
Yeah.
He's so intelligent, but he wields it in a really interesting way, because I've seen him go from, so he did podcasts building up to the election, right? And I saw him go from, high end financial podcast where he's talking about things that are so far above my pay grade, and then go down to just an everyday person type of podcast where he's relating things incredibly smart and not dumbing it down for the audience, but making it understandable and relatable. And I think that's a really difficult skill to have, to be that smart and to say intelligent things without skipping over any parts of the population. So I really love that about him.
Yeah.
I wrote this line in an article a little while ago, that he's a real force to be reckoned with. He's only 5'9", but he swings with the dick of a much larger man.
Nice. Hey, 5'9" men can have big old hogs. Believe me, I've seen enough of them. I can vouch.
Yes.
Sometimes you get a short guy with a big old piece, and you're like, okay,
the short men get
you're
blessed.
walking like you're 6'10". Okay.
You said something at the start of this about you would have voted for him whether he was a Liberal or Conservative Party. Forgive me because I'm not that familiar with Canadian politics. Was there a chance at one point that he would have run with the Conservative Party?
I don't think so. He's always sort of been slightly team Liberal, but again, Canadian politics is a lot more moderate generally than American politics is. Like, well, most politics are a lot more moderate than American.
Yeah, exactly. We're like off the charts.
You guys just take everything like one side or the other, and you're incredibly divided. Whereas in Canada, there's not huge a divide, and we don't make things like gun rights and abortion political issues. So we can talk about housing and healthcare and some of the more important things that actually make tangible differences, because we're not arguing about philosophical, moral, religious-based ideas. We're also a lot less religious than you guys are, which I think helps politics a lot.
I'm crying. I'm not really crying because we were just talking about this of like, we can't, there's so many bigger problems to solve. We were talking about this with Ben Yolancy of like, we now can't be talking about the shit we really should be talking about because we're arguing about things like women should have bodily autonomy. Trans people actually are people, so they therefore get like basic human rights. We're having these like inane, we should have covered this and there should be no ambiguity about this years ago. So we're not like, hey, the planet's in pretty big trouble right now. Or
yeah, we have all of that really deeply ingrained in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a talking point. Like LGBTQ rights, they're not for debate. Women's bodily autonomy is not up for debate. Like even the Conservative candidates are like, no, we're not. That's not an election point. We're going to talk about housing. We're going to talk about development. We're going to talk about social programs and harmony amongst the provinces. Which is another thing that I really liked about Carney, is that maybe he did unite us in our hatred for Trump. So maybe not the most positive thing, but he did unite us. He even got the Quebecois to be patriotic.
I love that,
because all they want is their own country.
Oh my god,
Alberta too, parts of Alberta.
Because I'm now on my desktop too. Steve Uppendahl, who's another medium friend, he wrote, "Is this the meanest trick ever? Where is it?" I assume he means when he couldn't find the podcast. So I just asked him, "Did you find it? We're going right now. Are you on the call, Steve?" I haven't seen you pop in, but hopefully he finds us if he's not here yet. So will you adopt us? How do we get there? Because we only have so many years on this earth, and I want to set my daughters up for success too. And I'm like, you said the United States is more religious. What's so interesting is we are increasingly an atheistic, the part of the population that self-identifies as a-religious is growing a lot since GenX. And that's making the religious part be more and more extreme. Yeah. So overall, jump in if I'm wrong, Lawrence. You're our political correspondent usually, but overall, right? Like, it's not that the U.S. is more religious; it's that the people who are fearing change, and those tend to be the rigid religious ones, are holding on to power more tightly, and that wish to be a religious country is being exploited so that they can take other powers, like economic powers, away from us. So I yearn to be living in a place where we're not having these arguments. The
I
fact that
think
the economies are likely to collapse out under us, like, also very bad.
I think another major difference. So there's tons of similarities between Canadians and Americans. Like if you put Canadians and Americans in a lineup, it would be hard to tell who's who.
Yeah.
But there are differences that make a huge political delta between Canadians and Americans. Like Americans are extremely need to find the right word for this, but
You can speak freely. We're feral. Just let it all out.
um people are very independent and independent, and they're sort of every man for himself type of mentality. Whereas in Canada, because we do have, you know, commie socialism, as some of the Republicans say, we do think more group thinking. We do think more about society as a whole and what's good for what the best options are for the largest amount of
Yeah.
people without forgetting without forgetting the sectors that need the most help. But
I
it's
love
a
that.
like mindset, whereas America's really more like individualism
Yeah,
and
for sure.
make it or break it. You know, pull yourself out by bootstraps. You know, get off my political lawn. Don't want the government in my house or whatever.
You're not wrong. And I was in Vancouver with my kids, with my family. My mom was there and my brother and sister-in-law. And we went to Victoria that trip. And it's beautiful there. And people were so kind on the bus and everything. And I said to my kids, like, that's because they don't worry about healthcare here. They don't worry about their healthcare. And I was like, I'm making a sort of a joke, but I think there's a truth to that of like when your basic needs are provided for and everyone else's basic needs are provided for, you're able to think more collectively about
Yeah.
what everybody needs
Yeah.
because you're not panicked about buying groceries or is one illness going to bankrupt me?
Well,
And
there's
it's a
still
better way
issues
to
of
live.
poverty and all that, but yes,
Sure.
you're not going to be crippled by medical debt because there is no such thing as medical debt. Um, to me, it's wild that you guys have the system that you do. Like, I just wrote an article about how utterly psychotic it is. Like, you got to figure out who's in network and who's out of network, and maybe one doctor, in one practice will be in network, and another one won't. But then this provider, and then will
Yeah.
this be covered? This won't be covered, and which
Look at all the hearts
program to
flying in.
buy? And if your job switches, if you switch your job, you can lose your insurance. But if your job switches insurance, your benefits can change. What the fuck?
I have joked before that getting medical care in the US, especially emergency room care, it's sort of like walking into a restaurant and yelling, "I'm hungry." And food starts to arrive and you eat a meal, but you have no idea like how much the food is going to cost, first of all, and you get billed for it a while later and you were sated and you had a meal, but you didn't think you were gonna be paying this much for it, and then, oh, also, the cook didn't technically work for that restaurant, so you're paying a lot extra, even though you went to a restaurant that was paid for. Oh, and the waiter and the busboy and the bartender, because you ordered a cocktail, also don't work in network, so there's hundreds or thousands of dollars in fees to pay for them in addition to the cost of your meal, and it can be months until you get all of these bills, and you're like, "I'm not sure who I'm supposed to be even paying where it should be, like, free or else that you walk in and you're like, "Oh, my meal is gonna cost $50 and I'm gonna buy a meal," right?
Yeah. But
Nothing
even
like
the basics of your healthcare doesn't make any sense. Like you pay monthly for insurance. I think the average payment was somewhere around like $400 or $500 if you're not going through employer.
I think
Um,
it's higher than that. I don't know. I haven't, been on the,
it could have been mixed in with an
yeah,
average
yes,
employer, which is wild to me. Like, so sometimes the job pays for the insurance, sometimes it doesn't. But even the basic of, okay, I pay X number of dollars monthly for insurance, but then you go and get care and you still have to pay first to get the care because to meet a certain minimum, and the
yes.
minimum is made up by a troll on a bridge. Like, what?
Every year it rolls over
What?
as your deductible.
What are you paying for if you still have to pay things out of pocket? Like, if you
You
have
know?
insurance, you have insurance. That should pay for everything.
You know what'll make it all better though is when the Republicans in Congress are making all these decisions for us, and not the doctors and the people who are trained. I mean, that's bound to make it all so much easier and much more straightforward, don't you think?
Well, it's going to be so much easier without doctoral people and
Right.
scientists
Right,
gumming up pipes.
right.
You know,
Because
I
apparently
personally,
germ
yeah,
theory isn't real, and vaccines are bad.
I can't
and it's
apologize.
healthy to drink fermented owl urine. And
Oh my God, yes. Have you tried it? Fermented owl urine? Oh, it's
I
so
couldn't get
good.
past the smell.
Oh, delicacy, complete delicacy. I apologize on behalf of our country because I think I'm like processing this in real time of like this sense of scarcity and of the individualism that you spoke of. It you wouldn't believe how many Americans will tell you with a straight face, like, but they don't get good health care in Canada. You don't want to get sick in Europe. And you're like, I don't think you're looking at the data here and also just common sense. Even if the healthcare is like this much not as good, which I'm sure it's probably better than what we have here, you're not bankrupted by it and you can access it. I I just got to and there's this whole like, oh, you have to wait in lines, you this and that. I'm like, we get turned down for shit all the time. I
You guys
yeah,
have
I
as
just
long of ER wait times as we do sometimes. Like,
yeah, or just denied. I mean, I
like
haven't I'm gonna write
if
about
you're
this
paying
soon and I
10,
haven't yet. But
like,
oh sorry, go on, you go first.
like if you're paying, $250,000 or however much it costs to get an operation or something, or 2.5 million, shouldn't you be getting quick service?
No.
Like, should the doctor be like steeping you tea just recently imported from Himalayan monks or something? Like,
That would be nice. No, I just, I'm gonna write about this and I haven't yet, but I'm taking, GLP-1s, like weight loss, Ozempic basically, except, if you wanna take the name brand stuff and you're not diabetic, it's like, I don't know, $1,500 a month. It's, like, stupidly expensive. So right now I'm doing it through a company that it's, like, that much for 6 months instead of a year, and, I I'm obviously not, like, obese and I'm not diabetic, but I have a family history and I'm starting to have some, like, high cholesterol numbers that my doctor was like, "Oh, eh, you should go on this," and it's helping a bit, but that company is about because there's not a shortage anymore, so the ability to compound it and go around the insurance is going away. So I talked to my doctor and she was like, "Well, let me refer you to the obesity clinic," because by, by where is my brain? What is the acronym, Lauren? Help me out here. Your BMI. By my BMI index, like, I'm borderline, and so, like, get you a referral, and then insurance should pay for this, and I just got a letter yesterday, um, stating, "We don't have enough people staffing this office, so you don't qualify because you don't meet our criteria because we don't have people." It blatantly said that, and I was like, "I've never gotten rejected for healthcare that my doctor recommended before." Um but okay, I guess I'm rejected for healthcare. Cool. Go American individualism. Awesome. So, yeah, does that ever happen in Canada? Can they just say like, "Yeah, we don't think you need that treatment." Like,
um, I mean, it wouldn't be based on money,
right.
but a doctor could say, I don't think you need that treatment. Now, you could get a second opinion and another doctor could, but if you went to a couple doctors and they or a few doctors and they all said that, then yeah, that's the opinion. Then you're probably not going to that type of treatment. But generally, one of them would at least suggest alternatives.
Right. Okay. So, but it's not like an active problem in Canada where people are like, I never get the care I need because of socialism, like Americans tend to portray it, I'm assuming.
Well, I think Canadians who haven't experienced anything different can get a little bit entitled with their care sometimes because they don't know what it looks like out there when you're not using Canadian healthcare. Like, I lived in Mexico for a while and I used their 4-payment system, and it was actually quite good and quite affordable. That same care in the US probably would have cost me a fortune, but in Mexico it was very affordable. Their doctors are fantastic. And because it was 4-pay, I think you got a little bit more time with the doctors than you might in Canada because they're all sort of on quotas where they have to see so many people. So there are complaints, but I don't think anyone can say like I can't get any care. But a big complaint is that your triage based on how urgent your need is. So if you're not urgent, you're going to be a lot lower down the list. So, for example, I did an MRI for an ankle that I had a problem with for a while, and that took me, I think, about 6 weeks to get.
Oh,
but then another time I had sudden really bad back and neck pain with some other issues that could have indicated a more serious condition, and I had an MRI the next day. So it depends on sort of what you're going for. The wait times be kind of pushed down if there's more urgent needs ahead of you, and that can be really frustrating for some people. But overall, I think pretty good.
6 weeks is like, that seems pretty quick to me as an American. So I'm convinced. If you'll have me, Robin, how does next Tuesday sound? I could probably pack up the pets pretty quick, and I could probably get there in my car maybe by let's say Thursday next week. Lawrence, I'll pick you up on the way.
Great. But Robin, you're living in the States now, is that right?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh gosh, why did I think you were? I'm sorry.
No, I'm near Toronto.
Oh, I love Toronto. I've been several times for work, and like, are you out like Mississauga, kind of that area?
Actually, real close to there, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's lovely. I loved it all of the times that I've been.
Oh my gosh, look at you knowing more about East Coast Canada than I know about. I've just heard Toronto is so fun. I've never been, but
I like to compare. Toronto's kind of like New York, but like smaller. It doesn't have the broad ratios, and it doesn't smell like urine.
Right. I've jokingly called it a cleaner Chicago. Like, to me, Toronto kind of has the Chicago vibe, like sort of big shoulders and, like everyone's very welcoming, but it's just very clean as opposed to Chicago.
Oh my gosh.
See, and we wouldn't even call Toronto necessarily that clean because it's dirty compared to some other.
Sure. Yeah. But oh my God, the underground tunnel system, under the main buildings in downtown, it's basically like you've got a mall that spans the, like 10 blocks across and wide in downtown underground. It's incredible.
Yeah. Wow. When my eldest is a junior in high school, and we talked to her college counselor at school, and he came with some recommendations based on her interests. And there was a school in Toronto he recommended, and I was like, can we go look at that one? I don't know if we will yet, but if we do, I'm completely calling you, and we're going to hang out.
Awesome.
That might be reason alone just to go check out that school. Plus, I'm like, I think there's maybe a path to citizenship for you if you get a college degree from, I don't know if it was the University of Toronto. I have to go back and look at his list, but it was a school in Toronto.
Honestly, yes. For Americans who live in Canada, you don't necessarily have to get citizenship. Like, you could just get a working visa or whatever. If you're of working age and you have skills that are in demand, it's not that hard. And there's actually an express system put in for Americans that it can be done fairly quickly. We can't take all of you, though.
Right. Yeah, country of 35 million can't handle 340 million Americans. Yeah, I know.
Well, only like half of us, because the other half are like,
right.
Go America. So
yeah, Canada's approximately 1/10 the population of America. So
Yeah.
That might be
Well,
tough.
Robin, we're past the top of the hour, and we always like to kind of wrap things up by asking, I think you've seen this, the ultimate Gen X song, which as a millennial, I'd be fascinated to hear what you think. But also, if you've got a millennial song that you want to prop up, what do you think?
oh god, I'm not great with music. Um,
Completely
Gen
okay if you
song, I
don't.
don't know, something by AC/DC?
Nice. Okay.
That's actually a pretty deep cut for, I'd
Or
say
like
early to mid Gen X.
AC/DC, Sex Pistols, something rocky would be what would immediately come to mind for me. Uh,
Nice.
and then millennials, god, millennial music was so weird because part of it was, like, I grew up with, like, candy coated pops and the Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears,
Sure.
but then we all thought we were gangster listening to, like, the Beastie Boys and Eminem and,
Okay.
you know, Jay-Z and NWA and all that. So, yeah, it kinda spans the gauntlet and depends on what your taste was as a millennial.
From being the karaoke fan that I am, and I used to host before the pandemic once a month at a bar by me. To me, like when a crowd of like millennial looking folks would come in every time it was bye bye bye. So to me, that's the song that like defines a generation. They do the whole dance, you know. I mean, it's a bop. It's not my type of music, but that song is a
Yes,
bop.
however, I could do every rap from 8 Mile.
Nice. Okay.
Love that.
So what I'm hearing here is Toronto trip for all of us to visit
Yes,
Robin, and we're gonna have a karaoke off.
and then
I don't
we're gonna
karaoke before.
I don't
stay in
either, but
detention.
when Dana's involved, karaoke somehow happens.
I know. I haven't been, Lawrence, in like 2 months, maybe longer. I've been on like
To
it's
karaoke, not Toronto, you mean?
I've never been to Toronto, and I haven't been to karaoke in months, and you know what it is? It's Substack. It's because all of my free time goes into well, it's because I'm getting up so early also. So, I'm a night owl by nature, so I could go, sneak in a Wednesday night few songs, and now I'm like, "Mm-mm, I gotta rest up." Um,
Robin, we're so
I
grateful for you joining us today,
I
and
know. I
Thanks
don't
for
want it
having
to end. I've more questions. I wanna talk to you about Medium and Substack and your secrets to success. How about that? Like,
I can come on again once.
please do.
yes, absolutely, open invite.
It has been amazing to watch your meteoric success on Substack. I feel like you finally found the place that appreciates you for the fucking hilarious writer that you are. If you had one bit of advice for folks like us who are just kind of getting started, we forgot to acknowledge this week, Lawrence, that we see the 8th as our anniversary of launching Gen XE as a publication.
Oh,
And so
right.
we're 2 months in. And we're not even a month into podcasting. But do you have any advice for folks like us or other people of like, how do you find your audience and your people on Substack?
Sure. Although, first, congratulations, Dana, on reaching 1,000 subscribers.
Thank you. To be
Woo!
clear, most of those are free subscribers. I have not gotten the check mark. That is a
Okay.
different milestone, but thank you. I was really wanting to hit that milestone, and I saw it yesterday. It happened well, and I was like, oh my gosh! So thank you.
Um, yeah, you're doing great. 1,000 is fantastic.
Thank you.
In terms of how to find your people on Substack, I don't
Yeah.
know. I find Substack's algorithm really good. It just showed me some of the weird people right away. And I just kinda glommed on to some of them, like, I don't know if you know, like, Christy Keller and Dre Beltrami, like,
I
started
don't.
showing me, like, these crazy chicks like that who are just right up my alley, and I just started, getting into comment sections and chatting with people, and then I ended up doing lives, with both of them, and they're absolutely fantastic, and I don't know, I just let let the algorithm kinda show you the weird people and then say hello or
Make
leave a comment
friends.
or subscribe to them because you can get into their weird little world and meet other people who enjoy that weird little world.
I love that. Is how do you spell Christy Keller? I'm trying to find her. Oh, I found her. Another Canadian. I'm
Yeah,
following.
I do too.
I'm subscribing right now. Watch me go in real time. Um, Oh, actually, I do have one last Canadian question. Are you a Julie Nolke? I think I'm saying it. Nolte fan, the comedian she's a comedian on Instagram and Facebook and
Oh, I don't know.
YouTube. Oh my god, she's so funny and she's Canadian. Um, she became famous. First found her, and I think many of us did through. She did videos early in the pandemic where she's talking to herself from a few months ago. So at the first one, we're only a few months into the pandemic, and Julie in like June or May or June is talking to Julie in January of 2020.
Haven't
Oh
seen her.
my gosh. Okay, I'll send her. I'll send her your way. I want to say she might even be from Toronto. I'm not sure. I know she's very Canadian and jokes about a lot of. She even had Justin Trudeau on one of hers. Like she's
Wow.
yeah. She's interviewing to be his assistant. It's very funny.
Nice.
He was a very good sport. So how do I know something Canadian? Look, I'm ready for citizenship. Put me in. Does it
Perfect.
qualify me? Yeah. Um, thank
Thank you
you.
again.
This was
We
so
need to let
fun,
these people go have their Saturdays.
right? I need to go wake up my kids. You guys,
Thank
it's
you for
prom tonight.
The comment section has been fantastic.
It has.
Honestly,
It's
everyone in the comments, I so wish we could keep and save this. It has been so much fun. So much
yeah.
fun.
Substack. Save the comments when we
Right.
post the live.
Right.
Shouldn't it show all of that?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. We're taking the
Thank
day
you.
off tomorrow so that Dana can be properly appreciated. And we love you, everybody. Thank you, Robin.
Love you, mean it.
Love you,
Oh my
mean it.
gosh.
Bye. Mwah.
Bye.